Biscuits recipe that I have got, I don't know how many years ago. However, they're the best. I have tried so many, but they just tick all the boxes. Buttery taste, vanilla, natural vanilla, and just the combination with sugar and ground almonds is beautiful. Let me show you what I have already. Here we have 100 grams of ground almonds, caster sugar, butter, vanilla pod, flour, and the bowl to mix everything in. So let's start mixing. Nothing is really complicated. Everything goes in one bowl, and then you combine all the ingredients. I have prepared already this big bowl, and clean hands and just mix. I have a vanilla pot here, but I'm going to show you where does it go later on. What do we do with it? And that is your star of the show. So 200 grams of soft butter, 100 grams of sugar, 100 grams of ground almonds, and 275 grams of plain flour. And that's all what there is, to be honest with you. It's so simple, but you know what? Whoever tasted it, it is fantastic taste. It's just, for me, the best. I have one more recipe, but that requires a little bit more work, where you need to do the mixture or dough, prepare it night before, and then you need to leave it overnight, and then the next day it needs to go through the meat grinder with a special attachment. It needs to go through it because that gives it kind of a ridges, and that is very important when you're baking it. So this is my go-to recipe, and I love making it. So I'm going to make the mixture. We are going to add also a tiny bit of salt, and it is important because that balances out the flavors. While we are doing this, I also wanted to use this episode to talk to you about money. You will be surprised, but yeah, that's something that was very prominent this weekend in my life, because I need to put a hand up and say that I am not good with the money, and I needed to do something about it. Our mixture is coming really nicely together, as you can see. It is crumbly, don't worry about that. Main thing, everything is going to be nicely incorporated. We have done that already. Brilliant. So everything has come together. You don't need to mix it anymore. Butter was soft. If you want, you can put it in a fridge, do it the day before, put it in a fridge, and then do it the next day, whatever suits you. Today is the first Advent, and in Germany, traditionally on a first Advent, you have 3-4 sorts of biscuits, and every week you make a new load. It's a tradition, and every Sunday one candle is lit, which is a beautiful tradition. I loved it, and this is a German recipe from my friend that I've got, and I have a couple of more, but I think I'm going to do a little series, and next week I'm going to show you a different recipe. Meanwhile, I have prepared 2 trays, both covered with a parchment paper. Let us start. You are going to make a little bowl, not too big. I would say size of a walnut. Once you have rolled it in a bowl, yeah, you're going to, with your hands, make it in this shape. I don't know what shape that is, but this is what you are looking for. the ends needs to be thinned out, and the middle stays nice and bulky. Once this has been done, you're just going to shape a lovely crescent. And this is what you're looking for. I'm going to make a couple of more, and then I'm going to turn the camera and we can have a bit of a chat. So I press one side, bottom side, a little bit in the middle. And you carry on just like that till you have used up all of your pastry. And then we are going to bake it for 12 to 15 minutes, preheated oven, 175 degrees. But every oven is different, so please check. And while we are cooking, might as well have a talk, because I found that this is the best way for me to make the videos, if I'm honest with you, when I'm busy with something and there is a lot of working, making, thinking. It is easier for me just to say what I think. So this weekend was quite dominated with my with money, finances, and it just came out of the blue. Out of the blue, not necessarily, but however, I came across one podcast, which is the podcast Mel Robbins, her podcast. I was listening to something completely different, but then that one came up and I listened to it. The guest was Tiffany Alice. I don't know if you have heard of her, but I would highly recommend to have a look if you're in a situation like I am. And she has been talking about money, how we deal with money, how we save, don't save. Are we savers? Are we spenders? Are we broke all the time? And yeah, I started thinking myself. And you know, I know in the subconscious I was never good with money. That is bottom line. Because I never had a role model or somebody to teach me about what is money, value of money, how you save, etc. In my life and my family, we have this, I'm talking about my immediate family, love is bought with money. My dad didn't, how shall I say, he valued people on how much they have, not what kind of a people they are. And he had a really, really strange relationship to money. Very tight, kept always everything for himself. I can't say kept for himself, but he was very selfish. He would rather buy him stuff or than buy me something if I asked. I must say, to a certain extent, there was a respect for money, because when I was young, I could never have something just because. It was always this question, Mom, Dad, are you able to afford it? Even though we were well off. However, yeah, his idea was always that giving me money, he is showing me love, which was really, it wasn't good, because I didn't learn that money has a value, that is like an instrument, and that you can do a lot with it. I haven't learned how to save. Everything was there for spending. I don't think that anybody told me ever to save money. I never knew that. And unfortunately, my parents, my mum passed away really early. I said that in my previous videos during the war in Bosnia. Then I went to Germany as a refugee. And from that moment on, my dad was already gone. He was living with somebody else. and I was on my own, and I was only 18. But that, I just want to say, that theme carried on through whole of my youth. Later in life, I never knew how to save. I was a spendaholic. I had a lot of money that came and went, that sometimes I didn't even know where it went. It was very, how shall I put it? I didn't care I didn't care about it. And the times were really difficult. The times were difficult in a sense that once I started my apprenticeship, I didn't have enough money to live on. And that is the roller coaster where my, it started with a debt. Because I didn't have enough to pay for your everyday life, my expenses, and you needed to pay everything. I didn't have anybody else looking after me. That meant that majority went out on your basics, but I didn't have enough then for anything else, to buy myself something or to go out. So the overdraft, and they give you straight away overdraft, that started just piling on. And I don't think that ever really stopped. Even when I got married, I realized I could have been much better with the money. I have had some inheritance that, I'm not talking about hundreds and thousands of pounds, but substantial amounts of money were just poof. They were spent on something, a little bit what I had of my inheritance. Majority of that I spent on taking kids to seaside, seeing my friends. And through all of this life, you do keep up with the Joneses. It's not like that you are not, because, my God, I was living in Germany, I was living in UK. How is it that I don't have more? And that was in my head. You would come home and people would be expecting you to have better, more, to show off, which was so stupid. I know that, I realize that now. However, I carried on like that. I came to UK, there were the credit cards. And everything it's kind of escape. Everything I was unhappy about, I tried to resolve, or with money, buying myself things that I didn't need really, that were not necessity. I know we shouldn't be buying only because it's necessity. Sometimes you buy things and they are justified. So the theme carries on. I got divorced. I split up with my husband a couple of years ago, and there were some periods of time, because I had the money on my side, and I had some cash flow, so to say, and kind of saved up. But then again, majority is spent. So this time around, I found myself again in a position where I'm like, there is a lot on my credit card. I don't want that. I don't want to go that way. What do I actually have? I really asked myself, what do I have? Where is my money that I earn? Especially now, everything is so expensive. You need to take care of it, and you need to respect money. It isn't a means to an end. However, that doesn't mean that you can be reckless with it. I had a therapy this morning, and I said to my therapist, what is my plan? I downloaded all these fantastic tools where you can go through your finances and have them down to a T. And you know what? I didn't like the numbers. I didn't like the numbers, and sometimes I think I live beyond my means. Not always, but in some situations, I can justify some purchases that I did for myself, for my education, that's fine. But 30% of the money that's on my credit card, I'm not happy about. It wasn't a necessity, it wasn't something that I really, really wanted. But what's done is done. So I did quite a lot of homework this week. I have put down on a piece of paper everything. I have put down every pound that I spend. And I wanted to see where it goes and how I can change that mindset. And it was very empowering. I am not in a debt. Yeah, I can't handle it. But I am spending more than is justifiable. There is no need for that. But there we have then this society we live in where there is so much thrown on us. You need this, you need that, you need, this is the, this will make your life better, that will make your life better. Oh, you feel shit. Come on, go and buy yourself something that will make you, for a little time, a little bit better. But no, I don't want to go that way. I really want to know where I'm at. And for the first time, I think I am honest to myself, saying, baby, you're shit with money. But it's never too late. It's never too late to learn. And that's what I want to do. I want to change that. So I have put a plan in place, I think I'm going to have still one more week to work on it, to figure out other things. But I definitely want to kind of know what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about saving, and there is this fantastic girl, if you want to listen to her, she's got a podcast, Mind, Body and Money. It's really cool. It's short, it's down to a point, and she's got some fantastic resources and tools. And she's like, how much do you want to save? I don't want to save and have money just there sitting. I want to save something for my retirement. I want to save for a couple of other things like traveling. That is what I really, really love. Then I want to save for a new kitchen and emergency fund. Yeah, everything else, let's see. But we're coming to the end of the 2024. So it's kind of I want to go into the 2025 with a fresh set of eyes. I thought in my head I had it. I knew where my money is going and what I'm doing, but nowhere near. When you put it down on a paper, it is sometimes a rude awakening. But it's not the end of the world. Something can be done. And I want to be accountable. I want to kind of promise myself and honor that promise. So let's see. Maybe I'll give you an update in maybe 3 months to let you know how I'm doing. I would love if I could reduce my working hours. And the plan is going to be really, really good to see where I can make savings. Nothing major, but kind of to counterbalance reducing the hours and having still the same life and everything what I need, but working less. Because after cancer, some things become more important in life than just the work. Let us go back to our biscuits. Let me show you what I have done so far. This is how they look, like a tiny little soldiers. Vanilla pods. So what we need to do is we need to take the seeds out of the vanilla pod. So I'm going to cut it in half. Don't throw away the pods because you can use them for vanilla sugar. That means you just buy yourself caster sugar, big jar, put it in, stick the pods in, and that's it. That's your vanilla sugar, and you can use it forever you like. Because it's not cheap, I'll tell you that. Let us see. And the rest comes with fingers, and then I'm going to put it in and mix it with our caster sugar. I like to do it with fingers because I know now then that I have distributed all the vanilla beans in the sugar. And this is what we're going to dip the biscuits in. Believe me, you won't be disappointed. As you can see, some of them are missing already. Be careful. This is a warning. Once you start eating, you can't stop. Make sure you leave your biscuits stand for 10 minutes. Otherwise, they're going to be too fragile to handle them and they need to stiffen a little bit. They can stay really, really well in a dish, covered dish, for several days. What shall I tell you? I have already eaten 6 of them and I made a cup of coffee, and that means I'm going to be eating even more. It's just delicious. So I'll show you now how it looks. Look at this beauty. This is just, it's just when you look at it like this, it's beautiful. And then this is what I told you. Here is your leftover vanilla pod. I just put caster sugar in it, vanilla pods, and there is your vanilla sugar. So, my darlings, thanks for watching, if you have been watching. I'll see you soon with another episode.